Chào quý vị, chúng ta trở lại chương trình trao đổi về đề tài Hiệp ước Thương mại Xuyên Thái Bình Dương TPP. Professor, we talk about the pink color of the collaboration future by TPP. However, at the moment, we know that there are also a lot of concern. For example, the textile industry, they concern already about the rule of origin. Another matter, for example, agricultural product. I think Vietnamese farmer would be not happy if they see a lot of American agricultural product or South Latin American agricultural product go to Vietnam. We know American dry years ago. During the war, we go American dry, for example. Yes. These sensitive area, how you think people how to find a way to negotiate when we have to open the market?
First of all, I think this issue of the rules of origin in the textile industry is very important for Vietnam. And just as background for your listeners, what America has said in past trade agreements was that it wanted everything from yarn forward, that is the yarn, the fabric, and the garment, all to be made in the country in order to qualify for these low tariffs, which might be, say, 15% lower than if the product did not qualify. So it's a big... If the product qualifies, it pays 15% less tariffs than if it doesn't. So it's very important that the product qualify. For Vietnam, that would be very hard to meet for many of its textile products because you import yarn, sometimes fabric, and it's really the end stage that much of the manufacturing happens. And I think the American negotiators understand that. And as I understand, the stage of negotiations now is that there will be exceptions to yarn forward. It's called a short supply list. They will make a set of products which Vietnam could import and still get the 15% tariff benefits on the garments that are made out of them. But there is a big fight about what is exactly on that list. So people in different countries are trying to figure out in the United States, in Vietnam, what they want on the list, and then they will have to have a negotiation to come up with a result. So we don't know where that's going to go. If there are many commodities on that list, so many things can be imported and still qualify for tariffs, then Vietnam will get very big benefits. It's obviously important, and we just don't know where it will come out. I think it'll probably, as most negotiations, come out in the middle. So some Vietnamese people will be unhappy, others will be happy. But I think there will be very substantial benefits at the end. So the other issues, there will be some agricultural products, I'm sure, that will be hurt, whether from American competition or from Australian or maybe New Zealand. There are other agricultural exporters. But I wouldn't worry about the whole agriculture sector. You know, Vietnam has good fish products. It has its rice is very competitive. Its rice will compete not just in Vietnam, but maybe also in Japanese markets, other markets. So I think there will be some dislocations, but they will be not huge. And you know, again, remember, this is a negotiation in which the end is not yet done. So some exceptions may be made for something that is very sensitive.
And is it in negotiation they can compromise by give and receive?
Yes, and that's, you know, every negotiation. It goes like that. Now, the negotiation obviously has not just products, but it has also these rules. For example, some of the rules will involve accepting the International Labor Organization's Declaration of Worker Rights. They are in sometimes different from the rules that Vietnam now has for its labor sector. So it may be difficult for Vietnam to change some of these rules. So the negotiations are not just about products, but also about these other issues. And you have to assume, and I am assuming, that you have smart, strong negotiators, but they are ultimately reasonable people. And the benefits from making a deal are very big. So they give you a lot of reason in the end to make whatever you have to do to make the agreement work.
Told that the negotiator always keep the secret. You are professor, you didn't know what they discussed. But you had a right to guess. Can you guess that which major matter people it would make big concern for Vietnamese side when we deal about labor issue and environment issue?
You know, I think the biggest issue for Vietnam, it is still a country which is in the early stages of development. So I think the biggest issue for Vietnam is to get open markets and to grow very fast. And I think what this agreement is likely to do, and that's where our guesses are important, but our guesses are that Vietnamese economy could gain as much as 10% additional income from participating in the TPP agreement. So that, if I were sitting in the shoes of the Vietnamese negotiators, that's what I would worry about most. And obviously, you would have to make the labor and environment rules in such a way that they are acceptable to the Vietnamese people. But I think the other negotiators understand that. So I think they will try to, in turn, provide some flexibility to make that possible.
It means we have to learn a new thing, a lot of new things coming. However, we have to struggle. If we want to get the maximum benefit, but however, we have to compromise. We have to, in return, we have to liberalize something.
And yes, I mean, all of that is true. You have to work very hard. You have to struggle. You have to compromise. But think how far Vietnam has come in over the last 20 years when I was first here. I mean, the progress that this country has made is enormous. So you have already done a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of struggle, and it shows that the benefits are also there. And of course, there is a lot more work to be done because there is still, I think, there is still a lot of poverty in Vietnam. There is still a lot of need. So it's important to continue that very hard work.
For another aspect, education aspect, the future of TPP like that, it makes a very heavy task for our education.
Education is important because if you want to move up the value chain, if you want to produce increasingly sophisticated manufactured products, services, and other things, you need very good education, very good trained people. So at the same time that Vietnam does something like a trade agreement, like the TPP, it has to make sure that it is providing the education to young people to be able to take advantage of those trade agreements later.
Thank you very much for your sharing and your advice to our young generation and education too, not only just for business people or public administration. And we hope that next time, another time you come back to Vietnam, we have chance to talk with you about the new progress of TPP and also about the Vietnam economy.
Thank you very much, and I enjoyed being with you, and I very much hope to be back again.
Thank you, Professor. Chúng ta vừa có cuộc trao đổi với giáo sư Peter Petri. Chúng tôi nghĩ rằng là trong một tương lai gần, chúng ta sẽ gặp lại giáo sư Peter để trao đổi về những cái sự tiến bộ trong các cái cuộc đàm phán kế tiếp của TPP, cũng như là những cái nhận xét đánh giá của ông về nền kinh tế Việt Nam. Xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình Cận Cảnh sắp tới. Professor,
thank you.